I've got the Juche Gang news for everybody. Monday, June 1st, 2026. Juche Gang news. We got Zelensky. He's not happy. Zelensky says the US doesn't make enough anti-ballistic missiles. Look at him. He's upset about it. Not happy. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday that the US isn't producing enough anti-ballistic missiles, and that he has requested a license for Ukraine to start producing Patriot missiles. Here we go. Yeah, I get it. There is not enough anti-ballistic missile production in the United States, and this could lead to the crisis in different parts of the world, Zelensky wrote on X. 65 anti-ballistic missiles per month compared to the current challenges is nothing. It is no secret, and Russia knows this. We need to expand production. I asked the previous US administration, and I'm asking today's administration, to give Ukraine licenses to produce Patriot missiles. He added. Solved. There we go. Missile production solved. Ukraine can make the missiles. Jesus. I thought that that's pretty much what he sounded like if you go listen to him talk. The Ukraine leader said that he sent a letter to Congress and President Trump about the matter. It's unclear whether he's referring to the letter he sent Trump several days ago, in which he pleaded for more US military aid. In the letter, Zelensky said he appreciated the continued US military aid funded by US NATO allies under the Prioritized Ukrainian Requirements List, Pearl, but that it wasn't enough. He said the current pace of deliveries through Pearl program is no longer keeping up with the reality of the threats we face. Is Zelensky pro-Nazi? I don't know anything about him. I mean, Zelensky is an opportunist of the worst variety. He's an opportunist of the worst variety, who is now very, very pro-Nazi. I mean, the thing about Zelensky is, like I've said before, he was running against Poroshenko, who was already put in because of a US coup. And Zelensky's position was that, like, he would normalize relations with Russia a little bit at least, and make friends with Russia. The funny thing about Zelensky, is before he became a politician, he would actually do comedy. Like, he was in, like, that show, I can't remember. He's like he plays the president of Ukraine in one of the shows he's in. And then there's another show that he's in where he goes to the border. He plays piano with his pee and another show. But there was another show where he goes to the border and he interviews people on the border of Ukraine and Russia, and people on the Russian side on the border of Ukraine and Russia. And he, like, highlights how there's no racism, how they see each other as one and the same people, and how they get along fine. And these, like, Azov and these right sector motherfuckers are just basically fascists, right? That was part of his joke, was dunking on them. And actually some of his TV show where he plays the president is also dunking on some of these elements, funnily enough. So then he kind of ran on normalizing with Russia, and then as soon as he got elected, who knows what happened? Many people assume that he had his life threatened by these right-wing elements, by these fascists, and that as soon as he got elected, that all just went out the window. And Azov went from being like a battalion to being just integrated into the army now. And all of these right-wing sectors, like fuckers, like from all these different groups, are also in various positions of leadership appointed by Zelensky now. From right sector, from Zebeltov or whatever it is. That other right wing group. There's Right Sector. There's Azov Battalion. There's a bunch of them. And now all the Hitler youth camps are fucking legal in Ukraine, which some people unfortunately sent fucking money to on the left apparently, because big bad, because and what's insidious about it is like the US makes it out to be Ukraine fighting all by itself when it's acting as a proxy of the US with US weapons. Click the links to learn more. Iran draws the red line. Yeah, and remember, anytime you're reading my newspaper thing, my all of these links work, by the way. The liberals conservatives always think they can outsmart the reactionary, but they will compromise themselves. Yeah. And I mean that's what happens with that's what the danger of opportunism is. You never know how far someone is willing to take their opportunism to benefit themselves. Yeah, Stefan Bandera. Yeah, they gave him the hero. Well, under Poroshenko, he was given the hero of the country. Then that was massively demonstrated against, and then Zelensky gave it back to him. Isn't that nice? And then Canada gave a standing ovation also to Ukrainian Nazis. There's a connection there, like I said. All right, I got one here from Press TV. The United States and Israel. Thank you, Mystery Core. The United States and Israel launched their illegal, unprovoked war of aggression against Iran on February 28th. Iran's armed forces responded with at least waves of 100 decisive retaliatory strikes under Operation True Promise 4, launching hundreds of ballistic and hypersonic missiles, as well as drones against American military bases across West Asia and Israeli positions throughout the occupied territories. Iran also effectively blocked the Strait of Hormuz through vessels affiliated with adversaries and those cooperating with them. A fragile Pakistan brokered ceasefire has been in place since early April, but a U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect. Tehran says it will not open the Strait of Hormuz until the blockade is lifted and the war permanently ends. Quote, if NATO, European countries, and members of this coalition want to fulfill their responsibilities, they must hold the United States and the Zionist regime accountable, because they are the ones who have caused this situation in the first place, he concluded. And by the way, if you read this whole report does show what the red lines are here if you go to it. You go to this full one here and they mention what it is about the that they've refused to have any nuclear talks. Lebanon has to be included, of course. No contradictory or prolonged demands, etc., etc. are all part of the red lines. I got a piece from Workers' World here for you. Stonewall still means fight back. The 250 years of the US's existence represents 250 years of oppression of LGBTQIA2S plus people, especially the trans community. Attacks on trans people have multiplied since President Donald Trump took office and instigated a campaign of forced erasure. According to the Trans Legislation Tracker, there are currently 773 anti-trans bills under consideration by state legislatures in 43 states. The rights of lesbians and gay men are also threatened. In March, the Supreme Court of the U.S. ruled against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy, a psychologically harmful practice that tries to forcibly change someone's sexual orientation or gender identity. What could come next? A reversal of the SCOTUS decision to allow same-sex marriage? A return of the notorious anti-sodomy laws? all oppression, including class oppression, national oppression, gender oppression, and anti LGBTQIA2S plus oppression, is rooted in class society. Frederick Engels wrote, quote, "The overthrow of mother right was the world historical defeat of the female sex. The man took command in the home also. The woman was degraded and reduced to servitude. She became the slave of his lust and a mere instrument for the production of children." Unquote. The Origin of the Family, Private Property, and the State, 1884. Engels traced this defeat to the beginning of private property in herds of livestock, which eventually led to the enslavement and ownership of human beings. All this is interconnected, and not just by a close chronological proximity of the two anniversaries. There are many ways that white supremacy, xenophobia, transphobia, and homophobia reinforce one another. White supremacy reinforces Eurocentric, CIS hetero, patriarchal gender standards, as well as beauty standards, which intensifies the coordination faced by nationally oppressed persons living in settler colonial societies. Settler colonialism uses the tool of gender violence to maintain itself and further its attempt to eradicate indigenous people. It is also important to act against pinkwashing, the attempt to put Zionism in a positive light based on false claims that LGBTQI2S+ have it good in Israel. Something I saw Dave Legend, by the way, do beautifully earlier today, I must say. Ultimately, to put an end to all forms of oppression, it will take a global working class movement, one aimed at bringing about the downfall of the capitalist system of exploitation. That would be a fitting tribute to the veterans of Stonewall and of the 1966 Compton cafeteria riot, led by trans women in San Francisco's Tenderloin neighborhood. August will mark the 60th anniversary of the Compton riot. Stonewall means fight back. Workers' World Party. I left you a comic in this one from The Grind, by the way. If you want a link to the original, you can just click on the headline right here. Yo, Lennon Smesh, welcome in. Great to see you. Look, she's looking at her phone. Ugh, these dating apps are not working. It's time to do something drastic. Tell me if you're flirting with me because I simply cannot tell. Yeah, that's me. That's me right there. All right, and now we've got the socialist headlines. First from Cuba, Granma News. Oh, I forgot to link this one. I will put the link later. Don't worry. It's tradition that I make one mistake per newspaper. That's what I do. That's what I do, chat. I make one mistake per newspaper. Isn't that fun for everybody? Especially me. Amidst the storms, the UCI brings good news. A universe ready for change. Intelligent, which today even welcomes children and adolescents in a new type of school, and which remains faithful to the founding ideas of Commander-in-Chief Fidel Castro Ruz. That is what the Cuban University of Computer Sciences, UCI, is today. Where the president of the Republic of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, arrived this Wednesday morning. After engaging in several dialogues and touring a unique school and laboratories where talent is flourishing, the dignitary reflected before a group of young people. Quote, amidst so much bad news arriving daily regarding the pressures of U.S. policy against Cuba, waking up here today at the UCI with the little school, with the new school model, and now with the development of you, the young people, are experiencing, fills one with happiness and, above all, with confidence that, even in the most complex situation, we will overcome it. And if we can overcome this situation, what won't we be able to do in the future, in other kinds of situations? The head of state reasoned, before recalling that what they had seen this Wednesday morning was part of the creative resistance, which isn't just about enduring, but also about developing, while experiencing the active resistance. This expresses a will, a priority for all of you, and a talent. Unquote. Among other ideas, the rector stated that they have proposed to accelerate doctoral training considerably. He said that UCI has 6 faculties and 7 development centers and 2,554 undergraduate students, a number, he noted, that they are in a position to increase. Regarding the current energy crisis, I've emphasized that UCI's principle is to leave no students behind. On this point, the rector, who is also a professor, referred to efforts to achieve some in-person instruction and commented on adjustments to the curriculum. This year, he affirmed 554 students will be able to graduate, 100 more than last year. Turning the whole of society into one big school, as Che Guevara and Fidel Castro instructed. All right, from Lao, comrades. Lao News Agency, KPL. National Tree Planting Day in Lao. To promote National Tree Planting Day nationwide, the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment has launched a countrywide tree planting campaign in conjunction with the International Children's Day and National Environment Day. The campaign encourages provinces and local authorities to organize activities based on their respective conditions and developmental potential. As part of this year's program, the ministry, in collaboration with local administrations, plans to collect more than 121 kilograms of tree seeds, produce over 25.1 million seedlings, and plant trees across more than 50,000 hectares nationwide. Provincial authorities in the Vientiane capital will also organize tree seedling exhibitions to promote tree cultivation for both commercial purposes and environmental conservation. For the 2026 National Tree Planting Campaign, tree planting activities are planned across more than 7,300 hectares nationwide, with over 4.5 million seedlings planted. Holy shit. In Vientiane capital alone, approximately 50 hectares have been designated for planting, including areas affected by forest fires. Species selected for planting include Burmese ebony, rosewood, ironwood, beechwood, local hardwood varieties, and teak, with a total of more than 80,000 seedlings scheduled for cultivation. KPL. I love that. And I love seeing JFK bringing some humor into chat, keeping it. Let's go. Hassan and Cenk are banned from the UK for anti-Semitism. It is not publicly known whether or not UK Nick Fantas is banned from the UK. Thoughts? I do not care personally. Just thought it was interesting information. Well, because they're not really banned for anti-Semitism, of course. Right? They're banned for being a little bit too anti-Israel, a little bit too pro-Palestine. Look at these gorgeous pictures here. I'll put this one on the full screen for you. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Sanla's breathtakingly beautiful rice fields. I'll say. Damn. In late May, rice fields in Sanla offer a captivating beauty, with the golden hues of ripening rice and the lush green stretching across the villages of the majestic Northwest Mountains, creating a peaceful, poetic, and breathtaking natural landscape. Yo, who just pulled up the Megazord? Let's go. Look at this. Virgo? Virgo just got a Megazord. Now, there you go. That's a hell of a way to start out a Pride month right there. What? Now you got a Megazord. Those fucking reactionaries better look out, I guess. That's not a new one, no. And look at this. China. Notice we got a similar theme here for China. CGTN. Chinese President Xi Jinping has always made time to join educational and social activities with children. For more than a decade, Xi has worked side by side with young students in the annual voluntary tree planting activities in Beijing, swinging the shovel to dig and turn the soil, building up earth around the sapling, and carrying water for irrigation. While giving special instructions regarding the activities once, Xi said that the children are naturally lively, and it doesn't matter if they play while planting trees. What matters most is nurturing in them a love for labor and an awareness of protecting the environment, he noted. During these activities, Xi often inquires about the children's studies and interests. I'm not gonna cry from reading an article about China. That's silly, Larry. Come on. Get a hold of it. Hold on. It's all good, chat. All right. All good. During these activities, Xi often inquires about the children's studies and interests, asking them, for example, if they know what kind of trees they're planting or what sports they usually play. When he noticed the children struggling with the work, he would patiently guide them, teaching them how to hold a shovel, carry a bucket, and mound the soil properly around the roots. Do you have to cut up so many onions in here? Sorry, my wife's just cut a lot of onions, you know? It's not even why does she have to cut so many onions? I don't get it. At one planting site, she told the children, 10 or 20 years from now, you can come back here and see how the saplings you planted with your own hands have grown. That is something truly meaningful. When you yourselves become parents, you should encourage your children and grandchildren to continue planting trees, generation after generation. That is how beautiful China is built. Unquote. She's gonna settle down with the onions. These heartfelt words planted seeds of green development in the hearts of the children. For Xi, planting trees is not only about growing forests, but also about cultivating people. There you go. Imagine having a leader that's like that instead of, you know.
Japanese orange.
Yeah. Thank you, Eminem. China plants trees, but at what cost indeed? Oh yeah, I forgot I did this now as well. Coming up next, I got one from DPRK for you, comrades. It's the DPRK Flower Festival 2026.
사람들의 기대와 관심 속에
Juche Gang exclusive.
2026이 진행되었습니다.
The Flower Festival took place.
206개의 단위들과
The venue of the festival,
각가지
the deck with various kinds of flower
화려한
sculptures and decorated with various plants and ornamental plants, presented more than 200 units and fanciers. Are you scared yet? Oh, here, I'll put this on. This is a yearly event in DPRK. The festival has drawn flower research and production units, institutions, and enterprises, as well as organizers and fanciers. One in chat if you're a flower fancier.
영상에는 펌의 정수리
The venue includes sections for landscaping parks and greening roofs and rooms.
녹화 장식 구역들, 실내 장식 구역을 비롯한 화초 장식 구조물들이 전시되어 있습니다.
Oh my god, these displays are incredible.
숙종 기간 화초 부문에서 이룩된
During the
우수한
festival,
성과들과 경험들을
achievements and
보호하기 위한
experiences
사업도
gained in the field
진행되었습니다.
of floriculture were shared. Don't cry over the flowers now. The festival earned an occasion in adding the emotion and optimism of springtime and help the people lead a more civilized and beautiful life. Jesus. Okay. It's just a lot of onions this time of year. It's not my fault. All right. All right. One last piece here from DPRK. Respected comrade Kim Jong-un inspects the Sinuju combined greenhouse farm. Look at that. I did 2 mistakes. Damn it. I should get some overtime pay for doubling up the mistakes here. Comrade Kim Jong-un was greeted by Yang Meng-chol, Chief Secretary of the North Fengying Provincial Committee of the WPK, and officials of the farm. Going around the hydroponic and soil greenhouses of different styles and experimental cultivation greenhouses, he learned in detail about the production, vegetable science research, and management of the farm. We have a green theme today. Expressing satisfaction over the report of the farm manager that the greenhouse farm has harvested hundreds of tons of various vegetables and tens of species at over 1,150 greenhouses every day and supplied them to orphanages, baby homes, primary schools, and for orphans and commercial units on a regular basis to contribute to improving the diet of regional people. He highly appreciated the patriotic devotion of the agricultural workers who are demonstrating the vitality and validity of the party's policy with their pure conscience and with the production results. He said that the Agricultural Commission and other relevant units should properly appreciate the research achievements, proving effective in practice during the review of the greenhouse vegetable production. Help share the experience with each other, and set forth new research assignments, and learn about their implementation on a regular basis, and take necessary measures. He also underlined the need to study about the mechanism measure for Sinuju Vegetable Science Research Base, in order to quickly apply the research successes to all the greenhouse farms of the country. He set forth important tasks for the long-term development of greenhouse farms, including the issue of increasing the number of vegetable storage facilities and green grocers to provide the people in the province with fresh vegetables on a regular basis. On the issue of establishing a well-regulated system for rapidly disseminating new advanced technologies to the greenhouse vegetable sector, and the issue of establishing a system for training greenhouse experts. Rodong Sinmun. And again, you can get links to all of these in the production. And look, we got a new ending screen. A Tank 2 production. Lovely. There you go. That's the Juche Gang news. Here is a link to it for yourself. Oh. Remember, what you might need to do is hide the bottom. If you go down at the bottom bar, won't get out of your way. Bring up the controls and press hide controls. That will fix it on your computer or your phone.